Good afternoon. It's Miss Anya here. Just saying, how's it going? This is my first time doing Club Chaos, so I'm really happy that you're here. I have a really fun lesson planned for today. We're going to be talking about dragons. So the first part of our lesson, what we'll do is we'll do a fun trivia. Let me just get this question going in your brain right now. Do you think that dragons ever existed or that a dragon exists at all? Go ahead and think about that. And then we're going to do some mindful breathing where it's called dragon breathing. So, taking those big breaths and breathing out our fire, we're going to do that. Then I have a really fun vocabulary activity dealing with alliteration, which maybe you don't know what that means, but you will know by the end of the lesson. And then we're going to do a little read aloud about dragons. Oh, I'm sensing a theme. And then we're going to do our project, which is one of my favorite projects. I've done it before, and it's called the Foaming Dragon. So we're going to design and create our own dragon, and we're going to make it foam with a really fun science experiment. Colin back there is working on his own dragon and designing right now. But before we get into that, let's start our lesson. So, like I said, foaming dragons are the project of today. Today's date is April 9th, 2020. Before I get started, if you are tuning in at home, if you could just comment your name, your full name, so do your first and your last name, so that we know that you watched our video and participated in our lesson. And also there's going to be some time for you to go ahead and you can upload a picture of you doing an activity or make a fun comment, whatever you want to do. So back to the question that I asked you a little earlier. Do you think that dragons exist or ever existed? So for those of you that don't know what dragons are, they're those big, ferocious creatures that in fairy tales, you might have read about them. They breathe fire, they have wings, and they're super scaly. And they're mostly evil. That's the way that they are portrayed. So do you think that they exist on Earth or have ever existed? What do you think, Colin?
I believe in them.
Oh, he believes in them. Okay. So while the fire-breathing creature might not have exactly existed, there are some dragons that I think are really interesting that do actually live on our planet. And this guy right here is called the Komodo dragon. So these creatures are very interesting. They are the largest species of lizards in the whole world. I mean, they seem pretty big. So it can grow up to 10 feet long and it weighs 300 pounds. That is a big lizard. I do not want to see it when I'm out and about. So what do they eat? Very interesting. Do you think that they eat plants and berries, or do you think, so that's an herbivore, or do you think they eat meat? That's a carnivore. If you guess that they're meat eaters, carnivores, then yes, you are 100% right. So they hunt and eat other animals. Their favorite meal is deer. And they will eat most any animal they can catch, including pigs and sometimes water buffalo. Those are big animals that they're catching to eat. So a fun thing, you're like, how can they take down such a large animal? Because water buffaloes are huge. Komodo dragons, if you can see here, has some saliva or spit forming. So Komodo dragons, that spit is actually venomous. So once bitten, an animal will get sick and die. So the Komodo dragon will sometimes follow an animal that it bit for a day or so. So it doesn't give up. It bites something and then it just kind of waits for it. I think that's pretty interesting. Lots of patience in Komodo dragons. So like I said earlier, it eats really large animals, so it can eat up to 80% of its body weight. They are at the top of the food chain where they live, so really no predators, nothing's really gonna hurt or eat a Komodo dragon. Okay. now that we learned a little something, some of those fun facts. Oh, if you have any fun facts that you think that I should share in my next club lesson, go ahead and comment below, or you can email those to me. I'll get to my email at the end. But if you're like, I really think that you should know that. What's an interesting fact, Colin?
Where is the Komodo Dragon from?
Oh, where is the Komodo dragon from? Exactly. So if you have any interesting facts or questions, you can go ahead and comment below. Make sure you put your first and your last name like I said. So yeah. Now we're going to do our mindfulness moment. So being mindful will just help us really get into our activities and get our brain in a learning place and that kind of stuff. So to do this, I'm going to just stay right here. But if you can, I would say go ahead and sit cross-legged or kneeling with your spine nice and long. And we're just going to breathe in through our nose and out through our mouth in a whispering roar. So we'll repeat this 3 to 5 times. So we'll just breathe in and then roar it out. Breathe in, roar it out. And then a fun thing that we can do to switch this up is, you know how dragons have wings? We can do our dragon wings and breathe in and out. One more time, breathe in. This time do a loud roar. Oh yeah. All right. I'm feeling much better and like I can definitely focus and learn more a little bit during our lesson. So we are going to learn a new vocabulary word, unless you already know. And if you knew this vocabulary word, you can comment below with your name. So this vocabulary word, like I said earlier, is alliteration. So the use of the same beginning consonant sound in a line or a verse. So this is a good example. Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. That is a lot of P's. So do you see how almost every word in that sentence starts with P? So that is alliteration. In that mindset, what we are going to do is we are going to come up with some alliteration terms, or I have a little chart on the next slide that deal with our theme of the day, which is dragons. So our alliteration. So dragons have claws. I started with their parts of their body that we are going to create in our project. So I started, there's claws. So dragons are cutting and crimson. Crimson means red. Cruel and creepy. Eyes, eerie, kind of like creepy. Exotic and enormous. So dragons are really big. They have horns and a head. So they're huge. They're hazardous. Hazardous is another fun way to say dangerous. And you can just tell. So all of these here start with C, E, H, scales, S, silver, scratchy, smooth, and sparkling. And then wings, wicked, white, and wonderful. So if you can right now think to yourself, just pick a category. Do you want to do claws, eyes, horns, head, scales, or wings? Pick a category and think if you can come up with a word, an adjective, so that's a descriptive word, that would belong in a in one of the categories. So let's say I'm going to pick horns. So I'm going to try to come up with an H word that would describe a dragon. So go ahead and take a few minutes and think about a word that you would add to the column. Okay, I came up with my word and I said that I was going to do H. So I think an H word to add to dragons is sometimes they can be horrendous, which is another way to say ugly, because they can be really scaly and they breathe fire and then maybe they have like cuts on them and stuff like that. So I'm going to say horrendous. If you came up with a really fun word that you want to share, you can go ahead and comment that too. All right, so for our read aloud, we are going to read a story called I'm a Fire Breather, Me a Dragon. So here's the table of contents. Meet a dragon. Ooh, fame and fortune. That's kind of an alliteration tool, I would say. Fame and fortune, both those words start with the same letter. A world of dragons, dragons rule, and then there's some, ooh, I see a writing activity. That would be fun to do. Glossary, index. So let's get started. Meet a dragon. I soar through the sky like a giant lizard with wings. The sun reflects off my hard, shiny skin. I breathe a stream of fire. My name is Alice. I am a dragon, and you are quite lucky to meet me. If you don't know what a dragon is, I feel sorry for you, but don't worry. I'll tell you all about us. So Alice is going to tell us all about dragons. Fame and fortune. So there's chapter 2 already. Dragons are famous. Why? It's simple. We're huge. We're smart. We have piles of treasure. Ooh. We breathe fire and we're very, very hard to kill. Of course, we aren't real. You humans tell stories about us, but you'll never meet one of us in real life. Sad, isn't it? I think it's kind of sad. Where do dragons come from? We hatch from eggs. Let's see. Can we think of another animal that hatches from eggs? Colin said chickens. I also think that turtles hatch from eggs. So there's many animals that hatch from eggs. Meet my children, William, Cecily, and Ralph. Lovely, aren't they? Each of them will live for hundreds of years. Like all dragons, my children are quite clever. Once they tricked a little girl into thinking they wanted to be friends. She followed them all the way home. Then they ate her. Adorable. Oh, these dragons. My babies and I have our own castle. Come inside. As you can see, I like to live in style. The place once belonged to a knight. He was quite tasty. That's right, dragons eat people. I prefer mine toasted with plenty of mustard. That doesn't mean we go looking for humans, though. In fact, many dragons live in caves far away from people. Why do you suppose that is? Why do you think that dragons live far away from people? I think Alice is going to tell us. Lonely caves and castles are perfect hiding places for treasure. Dragons love shiny things. If it glitters, a dragon wants it. I'm quite fond of rubies, but my hoard has plenty of gold, silver, and every kind of gem. Guarding my treasure is a full-time job. Nothing is worse than gathering rubies from all over the world only to have some pesky humans steal them. Oh, so dragons like to stay far away from humans because they have all the treasure and they don't want humans to take it. I guess that makes sense. Humans make other problems for dragons too. Oh, there's more reasons. Sometimes heroes even go on quests to try to kill us, and you call us troublemakers. It's a good thing dragons have such hard scales. You would need a very sharp sword to pierce my skin, and if you tried, I would just fly away or use my fire breath. Time for brunch. A world of dragons. Dragons like me usually live in Europe. Some European dragons have just 2 legs, but they get around fine. A few have extra heads. They can put on quite a fireworks show. I also have cousins all over the world. This is Chang, a dragon from China. Chinese dragons have no wings, but they fly quite well without them. They don't breathe fire either. Instead, they control water. Chinese dragons can move rivers, lakes, and even the ocean. These dragons can bring rain to dry land, or they can bring a flood. So later we're going to be making our own dragons. Alice is from Europe, and this dragon is from China. And you can think, where's your dragon going to be that you make later? Do you know where your dragon is going to be from?
Mine's a European.
Oh,
It flies and it breathes fire. It's a big dragon.
awesome. So he's going to have a European dragon. Maybe you'll make a Chinese dragon. We'll see. Your dragon can look like anything you want it to. In China, people believe dragons bring good luck. During Chinese New Year, people carry a huge dragon costume on poles and do a dance named after us. That's much better than trying to kill us, if you ask me. People in Vietnam are fans of dragons too. An old Vietnamese story tells of a dragon king who fell in love with a fairy. Their children were the first humans. As you can see, we dragons truly are the kings and queens of the monster world. Wouldn't you like to thank me for sharing our secrets? Of course you would. First, pass the mustard. Thank you. Now stand still while I take a nice big breath. What do you think she's going to do? Like our dragon breathing, we'll take a nice big breath. Breathe out fire, breathe out all the air. Oh, and here is the writing activity. So, you've learned a lot about dragons. It's time to show off your treasure trove of dragon smarts. Grab a pencil and a piece of paper. Ooh, write a short story about what a dragon's day is like. What does the dragon do for fun? Does it fly to visit other dragons? Does it toast marshmallows with its fire breath? Draw a picture to go with your story, or the dragon that we make today that's going to foam out of the mouth. That would be a great, you could give it this backstory. So you can write a short story about what your dragon's day is like. What time do they like to wake up? What do they eat for breakfast? What does it do for fun? Does it play basketball with wings? I feel like that would be really a fun sport to play. Does it fly? Does it hang out with other dragons? If I could breathe fire, I'd probably toast marshmallows with my breath as well. So that's our read aloud. So we are now going to get started with our foaming dragon. So here are the materials we'll need. Started, we are going to want to design our dragon. So you can have some colored paper if you want, or you can just use markers and color. You can design a tail, some eyes. I brought some of this. If you have googly eyes, that would be really fun, just kind of hanging out. You'll need some tape. There's some scissors, and just any other kinds of random supplies you think your dragon might need. That would be great. And now to the experiment part, which is getting the dragon to foam or breathe fire. So the materials that we'll need for that are, obviously we're gonna need our water bottle, which is our dragon's body. So the top of the water bottle is going to be the mouth where he's breathing fire, foaming from. So you want to put your tail maybe like down here, your eyes around here, some arms if you're feeling up to that. Or you know what, we can just get ready to make some foaming dragons. So to foam, we're going to need some supplies for that too. We're definitely going to need one of these, just for mess, if you have something like that, or you can put a plate down, because it's about to get a little messy, I think. We'll need a funnel, not necessary, you can eyeball it, but some measuring spoons, some baking soda, we need some vinegar, some dish soap, and then some food coloring. So let's get started with the design part. So, design your dragon. This is a really fun part. That's what Colin has been working so he's been so dedicated to working on that back there. So he's making hands, he's got eyes on it, he has some legs. This is actually the dragon I created. Here is what I did to make my dragon. Just a quick video to check that out. 1 second. First I made the eyes for the dragon. Keep them up top like I said in the video earlier. time on it. So if you're home and you want to take a lot of time on it, I think you totally should. There's the wings, and there's my dragon. All right, so that's how you can design your dragon, kind of like I said. You're gonna make a little tail, 2 arms and 2 legs. You can tape it all on there, glue it, whatever works best for you. Now that we have our dragon fully made, we are going to make a hypothesis. So a hypothesis in the science, like when you're doing science experiments and stuff like that, is an educated guess. So what do you think is going to happen with all those materials during our project or our experiment? So we're going to combine our vinegar, we're going to combine dishwashing liquid, our food dye, and baking soda in our dragon. And just kind of take a minute right now if you want to write it down, if you have somewhere to write it down, or you can just, this would be a good time. You can comment, you can comment below with your name, your hypothesis. So what do you think will happen when we combine? So I know from past projects and experiments that I've done that when you mix baking soda and vinegar, it causes a foaming or an explosion of sorts. So I think that what's going to happen is our dragon's mouths are going to foam, kind of like I already said. That's my hypothesis. So go ahead and take a minute right now and think about what you think your hypothesis is, or what you think is going to happen during this project. Okay, so you made your hypothesis. That's great. Now we're going to go over our foam time. So how we're going to do this. So what we're going to do, we'll just read through it really quick, and then I'll continue talking while I do the experiment. But we're going to fill the bottle halfway full of vinegar. I have my vinegar over here. And add a squirt of dishwashing liquid and a drop or 2 of food coloring. So then you're going to gently mix the contents of the bottle, give it a good shake, and place it in the middle of our tray I showed earlier. Then you're going to add a teaspoon or more of baking soda to the bottle. And the more baking soda you put in, the bigger the reactions. And watch the dragon foam at the mouth. So, all right, let's get started. Okay, so here I have my dragon on my metal tray. Like I said, we're gonna need. Sorry that I'm kind of cut off. And now sit down. Then it's weird how you do. Okay, so what we're going to do is, where's my funnel? So I take my funnel, and if you remember back to the directions, how much vinegar did it say? Do you remember? All right, it said fill it up halfway. So we're gonna fill up the bottle just halfway. Oops, it's gonna get messy. I know that you're probably thinking of that weird vinegar smell. You love it. All right, so we are filling it up halfway. And then I'm going to add just a little bit of this dish soap in there, like I said. Squirt it in there a little bit. Oh man, and now the exciting part. What color do I feel like using for my dragon's foam? Let's see my options. It looks like in my food coloring bin are blue, green, red, and yellow. Colin, what do you think?
My favorite color is green.
Me too. Let's do green. So I'm just going to add a couple drops of the food coloring. All right. And what is next? Can you think back to the experiment, what I said might be next? If you said add in the baking soda, you are correct. So to do this, hold on a second. I left my measuring spoons over there. I'm going to just take a big scoop of the baking soda. And you can either use a funnel or you don't really need a funnel. It's totally up to you. So we are going to add the baking soda, and it's gonna be, oh, first I gotta mix it around. I forgot the part. Mix it around. Watch all the liquids like the dish soap starting to blend with the food coloring and the vinegar. So go ahead and give it a nice mix. Okay. All right. We are adding the baking soda. And do you see what's happening now? What can you observe that's happening right now? There's some foaming going on. So when you mix vinegar and baking soda, it makes carbon dioxide, and this forms bubbles in the vinegar and causes it to expand. The gas bubbles react with the dish soap to make a foam, and the bubbles make the mixture expand and rise, causing the dragon to eventually foam at the mouth. I think that maybe what I should do is add a little bit more baking soda to get that real explosive factor going. I'm going to add a little bit more baking soda. Go ahead and give it a good shake. Ooh, there we go. There's our foaming dragon. All right. And there it is foaming. Crazy. This is kind of a fun thing to play with if you ask permission. Obviously ask permission to do any of these, but this can be kind of fun to play with after your dragon foams. Okay, so I hope that that was very exciting and that you had a really big reaction and that your dragon's mouth started foaming with the combination of vinegar and the baking soda and the dish soap. Very simple. All these things I think you probably have at home. And then that's our fun science experiment. Well, thank you so much for joining me today, and I hope you have a lot of fun doing your project. Like I've said throughout the video, please be sure to comment at least your full name, your first and your last name below, just so that we can keep record that you came and you watched and you had fun with us. And also, just to remind you, if there's any fun facts you know about Komodo dragons or anything you'd like to know more, you can comment or you can send me an email. Also, send me some pictures of your project. I would love to see what you did and what you did at home and how creative you were. Like Colin finally finished his. And look at this dragon. So he was very creative. He has this one-eyed dragon, which is funny. Look at these wings that he put on there. These really ferocious claws. And then the best part, I love this like colorful tail he did. So I don't even want to foam this dragon, but so he said this is a European dragon, and his backstory is that its name is, what's your dragon's name again? Peter. This is Peter, his dragon, and he breathes fire, and he flies, and he hangs out with lots of friends, and he plays tennis. He loves to play tennis. So this is Peter, the tennis playing dragon with lots of friends. Please do send me your pictures of your project just so that I can see what you decided to work on too. I hope that you have a lot of fun recreating these foaming dragons. Bye everybody, thanks.